Hey, gun people. That's a good one. There's a lot of behind the scenes cop stuff going on here that most people won't understand or see. And a lot of factors end up with this guy getting bit when he shouldn't have. Man. So when I first saw the trooper with his Smokey Bear hat, I immediately thought, oh, good grief, this is a macho ego. Like most highway patrol, traffic stops are a felony, and he's going to escalate it. When in fact, this guy's the most level-headed out of the 4 cops there. And the 3 city cops show up and absolutely escalate this. Force, the use of force, and all about ego and using the dogs. I mean, it's just amazing how this plays out. This is going to be a long video. It's an 18-minute video. I'll try to make it 1 30-minute, but it might be a part 2. So I'll put a little comment down here on where to skip forward if you just want to see the dog bite and move on with your day. But if you want to understand the dynamics of cops and attitudes and egos and government, when you have so much government that you have to keep busy, and when you give government so many tools, they have to use those tools because they spend time getting training and they have it, so they might as well use it. And this is what this case is. This guy should not have been bit. This dog should not have bit him. This was totally over-escalation, and I hope the department gets sued. But unfortunately, they're going to win because they're going to say the guy was a no person. Let's take a look at this, how it develops here.
What's your name, Gary?
62 on Gary.
It's not Gary? This is your vehicle? This is your automobile? Okay. So, do you know a Gary then? Do you know? Okay. So, this goes back to it. I ran the plate, it comes back to a Gary. I ran what you have on the back of the vehicle, comes back to a Gary. So he's traveling from point B, which he could be on his way.
Did you guys receive a call for a welfare check? Complainant's name is Andre Good.
Okay. I'll stay up here. I'll stay up here.
All right.
That's the mail. You can call him.
Foster.
Yeah.
Okay, so the plate comes back to a guy named Gary. The guy says he's not Gary. So now you have a car with plated to one person, and it turns out the plates are fake. He's made the plates. They know they're phony plates, which is another factor that just makes this whole thing outrageous that they chew this guy up. But anyway, this other cop tries to reason with him and tries to tell him the law on giving ID. They're calling this guy a constitutionalist, a sovereign citizen, whatever you want to call him. He's trying to claim that he doesn't need a license. He doesn't need to produce a license. Man, we're getting a lot of lightning and thunder out here. So, anyway, let's take a look here.
One second,
You're welcome.
yeah, that's okay. Can we get your name?
1909. We have
What? How would we use it against you? Warrants?
No, I don't have no warrants.
Anytime you have somebody refusing to give ID, obviously cop suspicions are going to go up. Does he have a warrant? What's going on? Why is he not giving ID? What does he have to hide? It's not his right, unfortunately. I don't agree with the law. I'm just telling you the law. If you drive a car, you got to give ID. I mean, the government has convinced idiots that driving is a privilege, which I hate. It absolutely shouldn't be. My right to travel as a free person should not be begging the government for a license and paying them a fee in order to travel. But that's a different issue. I just hate when cops go, driving's a privilege and not a right. I even hear conservatives on the radio and TV say that, and it just drives me nuts. It shouldn't be a privilege. It's a damn right. But anyway, I digress. Let's try to move up here.
Information.
Well, I understand he has a legal reason, but he does not have a lawful reason. I'm just a private man. traveling-
It is a lawful reason. State of Ohio, he can request your information. If you give him your information, he'll do what he's going to do, give you a ticket, advise you, and you'll be on your way. It doesn't have to be a whole big thing.
I'm not making a whole big thing. I was just traveling in my private capacity in my automobile, going from point A to point B, trying to get somewhere.
Okay.
And this gentleman pulled me over.
He did pull you over, and I'm sure for a legal reason. And if he did
But it may
see
be a
you,
legal reason, but it's not a lawful.
that's one and the same, sir. Legal and lawful.
Okay, so this guy, he's a no person. He wants to argue. He's not going to give ID. He's going to argue every word. This cop actually is doing a pretty good job at this point trying to convince the guy and educate him and trying to say, dude, just give us your license and get this over with. But I think it becomes personal because the guy doesn't.
He's allowed to conduct a traffic stop and obtain your information.
I don't consent, I plead the fifth.
Okay.
There's a difference between
Well, that's not our traffic stop, like I said. We'll see what he wants to do.
Okay, this is key. The cop said it's not our traffic stop. We'll see what he wants to do. This is where jurisdictions get in. So you have a city coming to back up a trooper on a traffic stop. So the trooper made the stop, and it's his traffic stop. So he gets to decide, and we call that the primary unit, or the unit who's going to have to cut paper. The unit in charge is the initial contact. If they were dispatched to this call, then the unit who this beat belonged to, it would be his call, and they would all be referring to him because he would have to do the paper. And most cops are pretty aware that you don't want to escalate or jack up a situation when another cop has to do the paperwork. Otherwise, you'll get called out, and the cops will cuss you out, and they'll start giving you a bad rap. So when you show up to someone else's call, you stay out of it, and you let the primary handle it. He makes the decisions. He decides how to escalate. He decides how it's going to go. You are there to cover him and to help him, not to make the situation worse. These city cops make this situation worse. Absolutely uncalled for, outrageous conduct, and I hope they get held accountable.
I'm just trying to get to where I'm going. I'm on my way, officer. I'm not bothering nobody. I'm lawful.
From the K-9 over there.
10-6-4.
What do we got?
I'm a constitutionalist, refusing to give the trooper any information. There's a CCW attached to the car. He won't give us his name. Says he doesn't have a weapon in the car, but he's not being cooperative.
Okay, to further complicate things, which is why I'm kind of against gun registration, when government knows you have a gun, they change the way they handle the call. When you have gun registration, I mean, as a cop, when we got dispatched to a house, we would ask, hey, is there any guns registered at a house? And they would do a check and say, yes, he has firearms. That would change the way we handle it. I don't know if that's good or bad. It would change it for cops because we don't want to get shot, and now we know they have a gun, and now we don't have to guess whether or not they have a gun. And then when we get there, we can ask, is there any weapons? And then we'll tell if he lies or if he tells us the truth. But unfortunately, that's a double-edged sword because when cops know there's a gun, they tend to handle it at a higher level. They don't handle it as a normal call because the risk is greater because we know there's a gun, which it would probably be better if government didn't know. They shouldn't need to know. It wouldn't be better for a cop because then he could get ambushed easier. But for government's sake, they shouldn't know. So another reason I'm against registration, any type of gun control, and government growth, because they are now going to use this information because the plate comes back to a CCW, concealed carry weapon is what CCW is. So they know that this guy that the plate comes back to can carry a gun. So is this guy armed? Is this even the guy the car is registered to? He said no. He won't give us his name, so we can't confirm this. So there's a lot of issues that this guy is creating and that are being created because we have so much information. But in a minute, they're going to say we know the plate's fake. So if we know the plate's fake, then we don't think this guy's Gary and we don't think he has a weapon. So you can't have it both ways, and these cops use every bit of information they can to justify what they want to do next. And that's a theory called confirmation bias. When you have confirmation bias, you have a determination of an outcome. You already believe something, so now you find legal reasons or you find justification to support your belief. It's a false belief. It's what the liberals do on global warming. It's not science, it's not good, and it's not reasonable. I shouldn't say that blacks commit 50% of the crime, therefore if you're black, you're probably a criminal. That's confirmation bias. Then I start looking for criminals. That's not what happens. That's what people will tell you what happens, but that's not the way it's supposed to be used. These guys are like, you have a fake plate, you're not giving us your name. The name on the fake plate comes back to CCW, therefore you could have a weapon. So we're going to take that fact that you could have a weapon, and that's going to dictate how we use further progression in this traffic stop. Very bad, bad, bad.
Do you live in the city?
I don't answer questions, officer.
All right.
Bald, tattoo. Rick, you can't judge people just... All right, whatever. I'm just pointing it out. I'm trying to show you observation skills. Did you see the... Hang on.
So I'll ask again, you're refusing to give me your name, date of birth, social security number. Any of that will be sufficient.
I don't answer questions, officer.
Okay.
See the black badge, band over the badge? That means they've recently had an officer killed. They usually wear that band until the officer is buried. So that means an officer's been shot within the last few days or killed in the line of duty in the last few days because he has that band. When you see cops wearing a band, that's a clue. They're going to be a little bit more apprehensive. They know they just lost one. There could be emotion. If this just happened a day or so ago, this guy may know. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that they should do it. Whiner's going to come here and say I'm protecting the cops. I'm just telling you, when cops are wearing bands around their badges, they're in a little bit different state. They're in a little bit more hypervigilance. They just lost one of their own. They're talking at briefings. They're seeing the family. They're planning the funeral. It's somewhat of a grieving time, so they're going to be different. I'm not saying you need to bow down and kiss their butt. I'm not saying that it's right that they can be different. I'm just telling you the way it is.
So you're not going to answer the question on whether or not you're going to give us that information?
I don't answer questions, officer.
Now, you notice earlier they said, we're going to let the trooper handle this. But we've already had 2, if not 3 other cops come and handle this dude. If this was my call, I'd be like, dude, just watch the guy and quit having a conversation with him. Quit trying to ask him questions. I'm handling my call. They are actually, by talking to him, and in their mind, they're trying to help. They're trying to get this done so they can leave. They're in a hurry. They're not really trying to escalate it, but they are interfering with the trooper's stop. The trooper should be handling this stop. They should be in overwatch position. It's the old contact and cover. You have a contact officer and you have a cover officer. And the contact officer does all the contacting. The cover officer is merely an overwatch. He keeps his mouth shut and watches in case the officer who's contacting misses something. These 3 city cops are just itching to get involved in this and to take this over from this trooper because they don't think the trooper is handling it fast enough. They don't think he's doing it quick enough. They want to get involved. If the trooper wasn't there and this was a city call, I think this window would already be broken and they'd be yanking this guy out. These city cops, to me, have a little bit of a hot dog complex.
Yes, sir.
Well, when an officer requests your name and information on a traffic stop, you don't have the right to plead the 5th. You understand that? you have the right to take a citation to court and contest it. You don't have the right to not provide your information. It's actually a crime and it's arrestable.
He is correct. I know people don't want to believe it.
You understand that?
I do not understand anything.
Okay. Well, let me explain it to you. Refusing to provide your information to a law enforcement officer conducting an investigation, it's a misdemeanor 4. Means it's arrestable. You can be taken to the Stark County Jail for that. Okay? Failure to disclose personal identifying information, it is a crime. Okay?
It's not a crime.
It is.
Okay, so he's a no person. He's going to keep arguing. Does this cop really think he's going to convince him? No, but he's on camera. He's being professional. He's trying to educate the guy. This will go good in court because they'll be like, hey, they gave this guy every opportunity. And a lot of people are going to say, you know what? This guy deserved to get bit. He brought it on himself. He was being a jerk. All those are not reasons for government to overuse force and to intentionally inflict seriously injury or bodily injury or death. I mean, a dog, cops shoot dogs left and right because they say they're in fear of their life. Yet they use their dog left and right and expect people not to resist and not to have fear when they're getting bit. And look, I was a K-9 officer for many years, so I don't want to hear all this. You don't understand dogs, and you're full of crap. I understand clearly. I've used dogs. I've done what I'm talking about, and I'm telling you from experience, this is way out of hand, overuse of force. These cops are hot dogs. They were absolutely wrong, and it's BS that this guy gets bit.
Statute violation. It's not a lawful crime. I've committed no crime.
Oh, sir, I assure you.
have the right to travel from point A to point B.
I assure you, it's a law.
He's trying to enforce a statute.
Okay.
That's all this is about. I'm trying to travel from point A to point B. You should know that I have the right to travel.
Incorrect.
No, that is correct.
No, sir.
I'm bumping this
Driving
ahead
is a
10
privilege,
seconds at a
not
time.
right.
Try and get through this, but there's a couple other things I
see what
want
we
to
got
do.
Driving's a commercial term. That's why I have non-commercial.
Notice the trooper in the background on the phone?
Driving's a commercial term.
Okay.
I'm traveling in my
Well, we'll see what we got to do here then. Because if you just give your information, you can give it to that officer, that trooper, and he can do what he's going to do, and then we can be on our way.
I just wish to be on my way.
Well, we could all be on our way.
You could actually be on your way now. First of all, the trooper, somewhere in here, I might have skipped over it, didn't ask for help. One of the officers saw him on a stop and just stopped. And that's normal procedure. For cops, sees a guy on a traffic stop by himself, he's going to stop. And then if he figures out he's got a no person, he's going to hang around. If he's just going to write him a ticket, these guys would have left. So, and again, this is in their city. So if the guy runs, they know their city. They're going to be able to chase him and help. Plus, this could go in pursuit because he hasn't given up his keys. He hasn't gotten out of the car. At any point, he can start the car up and try to drive away. So, again, there's a multitude of factors that's being contemplated here, but the escalation of force to a dog was just outrageous.
All you got to do is give me or my partner here your social security number, a driver's license, any kind of identity. Okay.
And again, you can go to police activity and watch the full video without
You
me
good for a
jumping
minute?
ahead.
Okay, because I was getting ready to pull him off the car and place him under arrest, and that's what I'm doing.
You heard a trooper say I was about to pull him out of the car and place him under arrest. So now the trooper is on the phone with a supervisor because nobody can make a decision anymore without a supervisor. Nobody wants to get sued. It's all on camera. So you've got a whole road blocked off. You've got 5 officers getting paid money, not responding to other calls, not doing any other work, all hovering around this guy like vultures waiting for a feeding. And it just pisses me off when his dog bites him.
Quick stop by check on the trooper. He is traveling, not driving. That's why he has non-commercial back there. This is going to be a thing. He's not required by law.
That tap on the camera was to make sure that he knew it was on and that they both knew it was on, so they didn't say anything wrong. This K-9 officer, what's happening here is when 2 officers get to the scene, this K-9 is trying to make sure he has justification to use his dog. So he wants to make sure there's a crime, there's a good traffic stop, he's refusing ID, and evidently he's checking the boxes so when he uses his dog, he'll be within policy.
I've tried every which way to be nice, get his social, name, anything. You run those actual numbers, and it comes back to a guy, to a Toyota, 2015 Toyota, which could be that vehicle, to a guy who has a CCW. Now, that's obviously a made-up plate, but we just happened to plug that in to leads and run it as if that were the Ohio plate.
So we know it's a fake plate. We know it comes back to guy with CCW. We know it's fake, but there's still a CCW. There's a gun. Ooh. So now the K-9 is like, oh, we have a possible weapon involved. If we have a weapon involved, I can use my K-9. So that checks the box that he's within policy.
And it's a 2015 silver Toyota, so who knows?
That ain't no 2015.
Yeah, that's true.
That's about it.
And I don't think that the picture of the guy, they look similar. They really do.
Yeah, that's
So,
all right, let me ask.
I'm wondering why nobody ran the VIN number on his car. Because if the plate is fake and it's on a car, look through the windshield, run the damn VIN number, and you'll know who the car belongs to and what car it is, whether or not it belongs to those plates or not. But nobody's ran a VIN number in this whole damn thing.
Let's pretend that came back to a 2003 Toyota.
okay.
It's still illegal not to have an actual plate on there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we're good on the stop.
This trooper's
He's
traffic.
failing to comply.
This trooper's traffic stop is completely great.
He gets bit.
He's 100% legal for the stop, and I've asked him 10 ways to Sunday.
This cop's just itching to use his dog. And, I mean, this is... Dude, you're pussy. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it, but you know what? Just to get your dog a bite. And I know K-9. I know when I was younger, I wanted to get my dog a bite, and I had all this training, and I went through all these schools, and you want to use your dog, and you want to make sure he proves himself in combat. And, you know, so I get the attitude, but it's just bullshit, and it usually takes somebody a little older, more experienced to say, dude, this is not what you should be doing. This is not the right thing. You're going to look back at this and go, you know what? I really didn't need to do that, and I was being a jerk. Because you are being a jerk.
So,
Hold this over here. We're gonna stop this traffic. Yes, sir.
he's going to shut down this road and get his dog out.
Well,
Can we get a couple more units? We don't have enough. Can somebody bring up some donuts? K-9, itching, just waiting, just hawking, waiting for the trooper to say, let me use my dog. Come on, man, give me my dog. Let me use it. And I've been on many calls where we could have taken a guy and the supervisor says, you know what, we got a new K-9. He hasn't got a bat yet. Let's wait a few more minutes till the K-9 gets here so he can use his dog. So I know this happens. You get tools, government wants to use them.
he has it covered too. So I have to go.
You could try to reason with him.
You would. You guys have
Okay, so this is a good thing they do. If the guys can start the car and leave, they should have done this earlier. They're putting a spike strip basically underneath the tires. So if the guy runs, he's not going to get far. We carry a little thing called a rat
what
trap.
I'm going to do here. I'm going to ask advise him out the advise order the vehicle. He gets out, we'll be fine from there. Still towing the car, unregistered cars.
Hear that trooper say, ask, advise, and order. He's following policy, checking the boxes. I'm asking you, I'm advising you out of the car, now I'm ordering you out of the car. Now I can use force to get you out of the car. Everybody's checking boxes on legalities here, and this happens, and this is what prolongs some traffic stops and takes so long when you get a bunch of cops kind of formulating a plan so we're covered legally.
Right.
And if he doesn't, pull him out the car, then
I'm going to throw these obviously under the tires, so when this pursuit kicks off, it's a short one.
you know, we're gonna pull him out the car.
Hey, Keith, let the trooper have the stop back.
Good advice. Quit crowding trooper and start getting in his way. Let the trooper handle his traffic stop. You guys haven't done this so far. Trooper didn't ask you to put spike stops or spike strips. Didn't ask for any of your help. Didn't ask for anything. And you guys have been really overly helpful.
So here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna ask you to get out the car. Please get out the car. Okay, I'm advising you to get out the car. Okay, I'm ordering you to get out the car, or it's gonna be placed under arrest. Obstructing an official business.
Okay, here's a pro tip for people that don't want to get out of a car. Once an officer says you're under arrest and you're in a car, you're coming out of that car. And you can do it the easy way or the hard way. But if you want to fight the fight until the cop says you're under arrest, once he says he's under arrest, he is lawfully authorized to use force to get you out of that car. And they're going to use force. They are not going to let you go. And here comes Macho K-9. Woohoo! Big and bad. And I had a couple K-9s that had little egos that I had to tune them up every once in a while and kind of pull them back and say, dude, can't be doing that. I get it. You got a dog. It's cool. You want to use them. I get it. But you can't be out there being a macho trying to use your dog every chance you get just because it's cool. And this guy needs somebody to tune him up and pull him back.
This is what's going to happen. As much as I'm a man and I'm standing here alive today, this is what's going to happen. We're going to break that window. At which time that window's broke, I'm going to send this 100-pound Belgian Malinois in there. He's going to apprehend you. At which time I'm going to drag him and you out of the ground. If you continue to resist, the repaint compliance put on you to the point where you will no longer resist. 100%. 100%. This is your final. He's ready. I'm telling you as we speak. You are going to be bit by this K-9 if you do not act accordingly.
Man, this guy, I mean, this ought to be Exhibit A on, officer, didn't you really want to use your dog? Weren't you just itching to use your dog no matter what he did? Weren't you itching to show him that you were a man and that you were right when you told him you were going to let the dog bite him, that you really had to in order to prove your manhood? This is BS.
Are you willing to open this door and come out peacefully? Okay, open the door or we're breaking it and coming in for you.
It's locked.
It's okay.
Oh, I thought the same thing. Like, wouldn't it be easy?
Okay, so they tried the other door to make sure it was locked so they didn't have to break a window. It's locked. Obviously, they have to break a window.
I think we're better off breaking it, getting him out of the car, and if he wants to fight, we'll back off, put the dog. Because I don't want him to get...
I don't want him.
Did you hear that plan? Break it, we'll get him out. If he fights, we'll use the dog. I'm okay with that. That's a reasonable plan. That should have happened. That did not happen, and it's bullshit.
Him to take off.
Exactly. So if we got to rip him out, put him on the concrete, we'll back off after that. Is that good with you?
That's good.
When you have multitude of officers and you need to use a K-9, there's no reason to let a guy go just so a dog can bite him. That's just wrong. Now, I know somebody's going to say, well, Rick, per policy, they don't want officers getting filed. And when officers fight, there's a higher chance of them becoming injured, and then they have to go out on sick leave, and it costs the taxpayers money. So by using the dog, we prevent office. Shut up with all that BS. You got 3 grown men taking down a Weasley dude in there who don't want to give his driver's license, and you're telling me they're scared to get hurt and they're going to jump back so a dog? That's BS. That's typical justification of tools. When you have them, you want to use them.
5 and 20 with 629. It's going to be a 1013 northwest. 1013
Wherever you work from, you work from. The big distraction.
Okay.
Which side? You get this side?
You gonna break that side, Keith? You got to hit it in the corner.
Hit in the corner?
That's a good tip. Anytime you bust a window, if you hit it in the center, it's tempered glass and it's curved, so it won't break. It's very, very strong. You can hit it in the middle with a hammer and it won't break. But if you hit it in one of the corners, it'll shatter.
I've heard it's better to hit it in the corner.
This is your final chance, sir.
So we have an officer breaking one on this side and an officer breaking the window on that side. That's not dangerous. We can't get glass in the eyes. They don't have eye protection on. All my safety sallies. How come they didn't put on eye protection? There should be. They don't have it. Whatever. So we're breaking a window this side and we're breaking a window on the other side. So we're going to do multiple damage to the car. Instead of maybe breaking a window, unlocking the door, and opening it, the guy is showing no resistance. He's not trying to run. Why don't we just break one window, open the door, and pull him out? Because once cops start using force and that momentum of now we're authorized, man, we're going to go full bore.
Grab him, show us your hands. Stop him.
You got it?
Get out.
The guy just sent the dog through the window and bit him. Unstinking believable. Unstinking. People, look, I get the guy was being a jerk, and I get that he probably needs to be pulled out of the car and arrested. But, I mean, for 4 cops to attack him and a dog to bite him when he hasn't given one physical sign of resistance. He hasn't swung. He hasn't told him he's going to punch him out. He hasn't done anything but saying, I ain't opening the door and I ain't giving you my license. That's called passive resistance, and they were using very active, aggressive force on this guy.
You got the dog. Dog.
So we've got a guy on a leash pulling this way. We got cops pulling this way. Gee, I wonder why the guy didn't get out of the car. I mean, Ray Charles could see this. How can a guy get out of the car when you got a dog pulling him one way and you got cops pulling him the other way? Absolutely outrageous.
Got him, Joe?
So the cop has to abandon his dog through the window because he let him through, ran all the way. Now he's got to knock the cops back and say, get back, all because he wants to use his dog. Man, this is just outrageous.
Stop biting my dog! Roll over on your stomach! Roll over!
Every K-9 knows that people getting bit don't listen. They're just not going to do it. This guy is just prolonging the bite. He's trying to let his dog get a bite. He wants to be cool and show that his dog can bite, and he'll be all tough. Next day at briefing, it'll be like, man, that dog screwed that dude up. He was on him. He wouldn't let go. And it'll be a big joke. Been there, done that, people. Don't tell me tomorrow at briefing, wow, that was really sad. We had to bite. That ain't going to happen. There ain't no cameras at briefing. I know what happens at briefing. This guy will be a big hero because he let his dog chew on this guy.
Roll over! Give us your hand! Take his right hand. All right.
I got his leg.
All right.
Got leg.
That cuff?
I got leg.
Why hasn't he got his dog off? Why does he leave the guy on there when he's trying to handcuff him? Absolutely unjustified overuse of force. I hope this city gets their butt sued off.
Stop fighting him.
All right, now extend that arm.
Stop fighting him. Do you see this guy fighting? He's got one arm behind his back, and the dog is shaking him like a rag doll in the other arm. And the cop is yelling, stop fighting him. This is unreasonable, people. This is what shocks the conscience of the court. This is when some judge is going to sit up there and go, you know what? You guys, he's going to be calling it just like I am. You guys are full of shit. Don't tell me about how you had to do it, and don't come in here and claim this officer's safety, and I was in fear of my life, and the guy was resisting and trying to hurt us, and he could have got our gun, and we had to use the dog to protect ourselves because it was the minimum force necessary in order for us to accomplish. That is what cops are supposed to do. Use minimum force necessary. This is not minimum. This is maximum. It's wrong, and I hope these guys get sued.
All the way out. Get away from me. Ow! My arm hurt, guys. My arm hurt, guys, please.
Then just notice K-9 there push that cop off again. This cop's trying to put the cuffs on. This guy keeps telling him no, and he keeps letting his dog chew on him. This is, and the liberals are complaining about waterboarding as torture. This is torture, people.
Stop! Please, stop! Please! Okay, everybody clear? Please! Clear. Turn over your stomach now. Roll over!
How easy did that dog come off? That tells me he could have took that dog off at any time, and he didn't. He chose to leave him on there. He chose to do more damage to this guy. He chose to escalate. He chose to use more force than was necessary. Absolutely outrageous.
Roll over! Hands behind! Hands behind you.
Both hands.
Other one, give him that hand now. Give him that hand.
My arm's hurting, guys. Please. Please. I've been lawful.
Release his hand.
I've been lawful.
Release your hand.
I've been lawful.
Okay, you can watch the rest of the video if you want to. I'll put a link to it in the description on police activity. That's my take on it. I know I'm gonna have cops and K-9 come here cracking on me, but you know what? This is an easy call. This isn't even a close call. This isn't even a maybe or if, and, buts, and coconuts. This is absolutely overuse of force, not minimum force, torture, unjustified. I hope these guys get taken to cleaners. That's BS. All right, we'll end that there.